Guys for signing up to watch me get ready. I know I may have frightened some of you with my before pictures, and it's all good. And I just want to thank you for having my back and like totally putting them, I don't want to call them haters because you know everyone has an opinion. It's okay. I put myself on blast online, and of course I'm gonna get comments, and that's totally okay, but I want to thank you guys for sticking up for me and appreciating that it does take a lot of guts to get in front of a camera in front of millions of people and show my bare face when I'm such a glam girl. I mean, I gotta say that I must be the most dramatic before and after that I've ever done. I don't know what you guys think. I'm sure you might agree. So that's why I thought how perfect would it be for you guys to see a class where instead of me just doing my face, which I've done before in the Sephora Takeover class where I did my contouring, I wanted to show you everything from like brows and eyes and face and just the whole 9 yards. So this is your chance to really see what I do when I glam myself. And the picture that I'm going to recreate is my magazine cover picture, which would be, I'll pull it up in case you guys didn't get to see it yet. And I don't know if you guys are on my Snapchat. I also posted a bunch of stuff on my Snapchat. It is DYF Tamana, or DYF-Tamana. That's my Snapchat name. But I did show you what picture I'm basically recreating. But this is the magazine cover that I recently scored. Yay, this magazine issue will come out later this summer in July. So I'm very excited. But anyway, I know that you guys loved the makeup in that. It was very Bollywood and Arabic because of the angles and the double wing and everything. So I wanted to show you that. It involves cut crease, it involves glitter. I want to talk to you guys about how to make yourself look less tired. I'm always tired, I never sleep, and it's Ramadan, and it's just like, oh my God, my schedule is just crazy. But you know, let's just be honest. Most of us, I mean, there's some of us out there who are perfect without makeup, but most of us need a little something to enhance. So I do recommend you guys check out my Snapchat because there are a lot of lessons in my Snapchat. From last night, I did a whole lesson on contouring versus strobing and why I'm still a contour girl, even after all that strobe trend thing going on. But I just wanted to clarify what it really meant and all that stuff. So that's on my Snapchat. Go ahead and check that out. But let's go ahead and get started with today's class. So I'm going to start off with face. I always do face first, and then I'm going to do my eyebrows and then my eyes. And I know you guys know that I get lash extensions done, but for the sake of this class, I mean, this is how much I love you guys, and this is how much I value your learning experience. I went ahead and last night I did everything that my lash specialist told me not to do. I did the opposite. So I basically used oily eye makeup remover. I used waterproof mascara. Like I did everything I could to get my lashes off, and I basically got most of them off. There's like maybe 5 strands left on each eye. So I wanted you guys to see more realistically what my eyes look like without makeup on and without lashes on, because also I want you guys to see how my new Tamana lashes look from Flutter Lashes. I want to thank you guys for buying them until they sold out yesterday. And it just came out yesterday, and I know that the site crashed. So even during the whole site crash and all that stuff going on, you guys still managed to buy the entire stock. But good news to those of you who haven't got it yet, on flutterlashes.com, we are receiving another huge shipment of inventory next week. So it will be back on the site. So it's not super back ordered. It's just delayed for a week. So this is the lash. Yay. I love it, love it, love it. And I will be using these in today's class so you guys can see exactly what they look like. So first things first, talking about skin, I obviously have nothing on right now. And my eyebrows are pretty bare. I have to say, my eyebrows did grow since a couple years ago. I don't know how it grew. I guess I just kind of stopped really tweezing them that much, and I let the shape kind of fill up, but I don't really have much of a shape. It is naturally arched. I never had like full eyebrows to begin with. I'm half Indian, half Afghan, and I did not get the hairy gene where I have full hair and full brows and full lashes. I got nothing. My hair is teased to the gauze and sprayed. This is, well, I'm not wearing my extensions or anything, but I just cut it. But I don't have full hair. My eyebrows are non-existent. My lashes are non-existent. So I feel like I am the woman who needs a little glam and a little pick-me-up, and I look so tired without makeup. So that's kind of why I'm here, to help you guys who are in the same boat as me. So anyway, let's go ahead. The first thing that I like to do is apply moisturizer, which I already did this morning. I used Absolute Moisturizer from Lancome. It's like super, super buttery soft. And what we could do, because I am a little dry still, since it's been so many hours, I'm gonna go ahead and use my Hourglass Serum number 28. I do have a little mirror in front of me. We're gonna zoom in one notch so you can kind of get a good look at my face right now. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this lovely serum all over my face very softly. Not so much, I just wanna make sure that I'm getting everything really smooth, because the problem is my skin's so dry that it peels, like it flakes, it's so dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this as a layer to hydrate me and to feel more smooth, so that when I end up putting on my foundation and makeup and all that stuff, it actually glides on a lot better. I'm also gonna remove my nose ring so that I can get right in there and not mess it up. So we're gonna do it on the forehead too. I'm always dry here, but for those of you who are oily or combination, this is definitely not the right serum for you. You wanna get something that's oil-free. The serum is definitely extremely buttery, soft, oily, all that stuff. So you wanna make sure you're getting something that's right for your skin. I've always been dry. I would say my whole life I've been super, super dry. So, and then I like to rub the rest on my hands. So there. So now that my skin is prepped, I'm just gonna go right into foundation, and I'm gonna tell you, I like cake face. I like to go crazy with my foundation. I go full coverage. This is my baby. This is for me. For my clients, I use MAC only because it blends a lot easier. For myself, I'm very rough on my own skin, and I don't care if I'm dragging and pulling, so I use the heavy stuff. But if I were to use this on clients, I would actually mix it with a little bit of primer lotion so that it can dilute just a bit, so it's easier to blend. But for me, I'm just gonna go nuts. So I'm gonna use my Morphe brush. I always struggle with the numbers. I'm sure you guys notice in every single one of my classes. M427, it's rubbed off, I use it so much. So I'm gonna dip right into this, take a small amount, and I scrape it along the edges because I don't wanna put too much on. And then I go right in and I stipple it right in my skin. And then if you need to drag it or move it around, just drag it lightly. But I love to stipple it, especially around the eye area. It just like smooths really nicely. I'm going all the way around. So starting on one side and working on the other side, we're gonna go ahead and start really applying it and pushing it right in. So I'm stippling it everywhere. I'm kind of using the laptop screen below the camera to help me see what this looks like. So in case I'm just looking everywhere except for the camera, you know it's because I have to look at myself. I also have a little mirror next to me, but I'd rather look at the screen, just so I know what you guys are seeing. So I'm stippling everywhere. I want a full coverage. I want, you know, for a magazine cover, for a Bollywood bridal, all that stuff. The whole point is to not look natural. And I know a lot of comments were, oh my God, that's too much makeup. It's better before. But this isn't a natural makeup tutorial. This is glam. This is so my style right here. So I'm just gonna push this product right in. This is Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer Foundation. Again, I did not dilute it. It's full coverage, and the color is SX08. That's my shade. And this actually covers everything. So as you can see, I have freckles and sunspots, and this tends to cover every single thing on my face. And whatever is like left on my jawline, I just tend to rub it down a little bit. I'm gonna work on my forehead now. Push it right in. Again, as you can see, I'm a lot rougher on my own skin than I am on others. You guys are so used to seeing me do makeup on other people. But yeah, I'm rough on myself because it's me. I don't really care about being gentle. So I'm making sure I'm covering everything. Be careful when you're using full coverage foundations not to get it in the hair. And if it does get in the hair, just make sure you clean it off before you let your client go. And I'm just making sure everything is just pushed right in. I'm gonna go along my eyelids a little bit, just very lightly. By the way, as normal, to those of you who have been my students for a while, you know the drill. My latest Instagram post, you can ask your questions for the Q&A and I will answer them at the end of class. So go ahead and write down all your questions in your comments on my latest post on my Instagram page. It's the behind the scenes picture I just posted. And I'll go ahead and answer those for you. So I'm just kind of making sure everything's looking really perfect and smooth on my skin. I want to make sure that any discoloration, any veins, lines are all covered and looking absolutely perfect. So once I have a nice full layer of foundation on, which I'm just gonna make sure this chin area is all covered. I do have very old acne scarring that is around my chin area right in here. So I like to add a little bit extra product right in there. And then whatever's left on the brush, I just kind of give an extra helping to all my freckled areas. So now that the foundation is on, I'm ready for the highlight and contour and concealing. The concealing, I actually just use this brush right here. It's the same brush I always use for concealing. It's MAC 287. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna use the same foundation. So it's the Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer Foundation as my concealer as well for this look. Because it's so full coverage, I don't even need a separate concealer. Let me just wipe off what's on my lip. So I'm just gonna dip right in, swallow them out, and cover my discoloration under my eyes. And I'm also bringing it down below my eye bag. So here's my eye bag and I'm going a little bit below. If you can see, that basically just kind of flattens the surface because it's all one color now. Instead of me using a much lighter color under my eye, I'm not trying to match it to white. I want to brighten it without going too pale. Because another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, which I like to talk about in all my classes, just it's my #1 question, is about the dark circles. When you sometimes use a lighter color, it ends up looking very gray. So using the same color as your skin tone, just maybe a little bit more orange or warm, is going to conceal your dark circles a lot better than going with a lighter color. Because the orange undertones and the gold undertones is really what knocks out the blue and the gray undertones that concealers can somehow give when it's too light. So now under eyes are concealed, and I'm also going to use a little extra concealer. Actually, it's foundation, but a little extra around the corners of my mouth. And now that the face is all just kind of one color, now we're ready to really highlight and contour. So for my highlights, I'm going to be using Creamy Beige. which is this one right here from LA Girl Cosmetics, my favorite. So I'm going to use a little bit of this. I don't like to overly highlight my face because I just feel like it's going to look too ghostly. So what I like to do is just highlight peak areas of my face to brighten them, and then using powders, that's where I can actually just go crazy and look more photoshopped if I wish. So I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of this LA Girl Pro Conceal right along. I just want to make sure this isn't too bright for you. There we go. Right along a triangular formation under my eye down to my laugh line. So if you can see, it's basically just a few lines right in here. And again, when I'm doing my own makeup, I don't care about like perfect lines. I just want to make sure it's in the right place. So I'm also going to draw a line going down to the tip of my nose, and then from arch to arch, and fanning out as so. And that's just going to highlight the center of my forehead. And I do like to add a little bit of highlight on my Cupid's bow and bring it down to the top of my lips here. And I do connect it around my nose just to tighten up the nostril space, make it look really tiny and Barbie-like. And lastly, just a little bit on the chin to give it a little bit more of a point, since I have more of a square shaped face. So that is how I highlight. And next, I'm going to show you where I contour. So if you guys want to take screenshots of all this, feel free to do it. I'm not going to be offended when you post it. I've already thrown my naked face to the world, so feel free to do so. It's not a big deal. It's actually an awesome educational experience. So here is my favorite contour product. It is LA Girl Pro Conceal as well, and the color is called Beautiful Bronze. So I'm going to squeeze a little bit on the back of my hand and draw it on the contour zones of my face. So that would be my cheekbones and the perimeter of my forehead, things like that. So I'm just going to use this right along my cheekbone, keep it darker on the top, go thinner and thinner as I move my way in. And the angle would be as if I'm going from the top of the ear towards the corner of the mouth. That's the angle that I always do it. I feel like it's very universal. It works for most people. The only time I ever change it is if the face shape is already very elongated. This is gonna make it even more elongated. So in that case, if you have a long face, I go a little bit more horizontal with my structuring here, and I go back up to the nose. So this line would go up to the nose instead of down to the mouth. But for most other skin or face shapes, this is fine. So right along ear to mouth, go thicker along the top and thinner as you head down towards the mouth. And I love to do my temple zones. And of course the perimeter of the forehead, just to get that over with. And because of my square shaped jaw area, I'm gonna go from my earlobe and make a straight line connection to my chin instead of curving down. That's gonna cut my extra bone here. So straight line down to the chin on both sides. Ta-da! And lastly, we're gonna do the T-zone. I'm just squeezing some product out so I can get it. And I'm gonna go right in from my crease area here instead of my eyebrows, only because I have a longer nose. So to shorten it, I'm gonna start a little lower and end a little higher. So I'm gonna go from here and go right up to the side of my nose there. I'm gonna go in a straight line down. So I'm just taking my nose straight line down, and I'm gonna connect it right on the top of my natural bulb at the end of the nose. So right up in there. And another thing you could do, if you have a hanging tip down here, you can connect nostril to nostril, and that will shorten the nose. So now I have a shorter looking nose. I also do the center of my Cupid's bow here, and I love to darken the middle part of my lower lip, and that makes my lips look more pouty. And lastly, if you feel like doing your eyes, you can. I don't think it's really necessarily, only because I'm still going to be doing eyeshadow base there, so it's not really necessary. But just so you guys know some of the other areas that you can contour and highlight, I'm just going to do that. And then for the highlight area, if you wish to highlight your eyes a little bit before doing your eyeshadow, you can absolutely use whatever's left on your lighter color and draw it from your arch to the tail of your eyebrows. So I'm going to take a second to just pose for you guys, so you can go ahead and take your screenshots. And I'm gonna pose side to side, so you can see exactly where I contoured and how everything looks like. I know my eyebrows look so scary, but believe me, this is a major improvement from what it used to be a few years ago. Just letting it grow, but it just doesn't grow in the areas that I want it. And how did it get this way? Well, when I was 12 years old, I decided to tweeze my eyebrows for the first time as a rebellious act against my parents for no reason. They didn't do anything to me. I just felt like doing it, and I knew I wasn't allowed to, so I snuck around and did it. And then Mama found out, and she was like, okay, well, your punishment is you're gonna have to pluck your eyebrows for the rest of your life. And I'm like, oh crap. So she gave me her tweezers. I thought I could just do it one time and get away with it, but no, when you do it, your eyebrows grow really funky. So she gave me tweezers, and I had to start doing my eyebrows. And then one day I was like, wait a second, if my parents are actually giving me permission to now do it, since I already did it, maybe I can go crazy. And remember back in the day, I wanna say it was like in the mid-90s, like the Selena time, it was all about that thin, rounded arch eyebrow, and that's exactly what I did, and it never grew back. So for all of you girls out there with big, thick, beautiful brows, please do not tweeze them. I mean, if you gotta tweeze it or wax it, just wax the extra hairs, but don't mess with the body of your brow. I totally regret doing that. But I mean, to my defense, I didn't really have brows to begin with. They were very light, and they weren't even that, I mean, they didn't really show, so I still would have to pencil them in. Anyway, I hope you got your screenshots, and now we're ready to blend. So with the blending brush that I'm going to use, this is the number 130 from MAC, which is what I always, always love. I'm gonna start off with my highlight areas, and I'm just gonna push it in to melt into my foundation step. There. So do that to all of the highlighted areas. I'm literally just pushing it. I'm not doing any major rubbing. I'm only gonna rub the areas that aren't blending right, but these are very easy to blend. The light colors are very, very easy to blend just by pushing them in. See that? Just pushing them in. Make sure you cannot see the edges of your strokes though. You wanna make sure it looks very, very smooth. So pushing this in, right in there. And then for the smaller areas, I'm gonna use a smaller brush. So going in with my little concealer brush, I'm just gonna push in all the tighter areas so I don't mess up and accidentally touch the dark, and then it gets all contaminated and crazy, and then my zoning is all off. So wanna make sure you do small areas at a time. We're gonna blend all of this, blend that. And now my highlight zones are done, and I'm gonna go into this larger brush again, gonna wipe it off a little bit just to make sure that there's no light in there, and I'm gonna start blending my dark edges. So just push it in and give it a light stroking effect. And this is gonna create a beautiful gradient for you. The amount of contour, of course, is up to you. You could just do it very light. You could actually, while you're applying it, blend it if you want more of a natural look. But I like my product to dry a little bit. I feel like it lasts a lot longer when it sets on the skin like this, and it looks a lot sharper in photographs. I am going to a special event tonight, so I want to look extra fake, extra Barbie. And this is how it's done. So I'm just blending by pushing in. I don't like to do a lot of big circles or anything. I'm trying to keep my color contained in one small area. But when it comes to the jawline, I don't want you guys to see like a big brown line. So what we're doing here is we're really rubbing it into the skin so that you cannot see a crazy brown line out of nowhere. And if you need to use your fingers to just kind of blend your foundation into it so it just looks like a light shadow, then that's fine. Same on this side. Really rubbing it in, smoothing it out. And now for the forehead, get that temple blended, rub all along the hairline, get the other temple blended, and you can absolutely use your fingers to further blend and blur any edges and lines that you may see. I love using the fingers. I feel like that's your best tool. That's your most valuable tool. So now that that's done, I can switch to my smaller brush again and start blending the T-zone. So I'm doing my eye shading for now, just to start that process. And now with the nose, I want you guys to see really well, I'm just stroking it down. And you can use a clean finger to then wipe off any remaining brown so it looks just like a natural shadow. Remember, once we do the powder steps, it's also gonna look much more natural. So don't worry if it's still looking crazy. It does take a few steps to master it. Don't forget the bottoms. Make that nose look really tiny. Right in here, use a clean finger to further blend, and don't forget the under lip area. Okay, so now that the highlight and contour is creating a little bit more of a shapely face for me, I have a lifted cheekbone, I have shaved down jawline, smaller nose, all that stuff. Now I'm ready for the actual setting powders. So as you guys know, if you guys have been my loyal Dress Your Face Life members for a while, you know the powders that I love are MAC Studio Fix because they're full coverage and it's basically like putting foundation over foundation, but it's powder. So it doesn't feel heavy at all. It actually feels very light. I can breathe right through it. It does not melt in the summer heat. I gotta say, none of my clients melt. They just don't. I don't use a finishing spray. I don't use any of that stuff. And on myself, sometimes I don't even use a primer. And I still don't melt. And it's like summer right now in LA, so it's pretty hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and use some of these colors to start setting my lovely face here. I'm gonna grab my powder. First thing is the NC25. Can you guys see? Okay. NC25. I'm going to use Morphe M407 brush. This is NC25, and I'm going to use this just for the highlight zone. So I'm just going to set the areas that I've highlighted. So I'm going to make sure I'm setting my under eyes, that little triangle that we made down to the laugh line. The reason why I'm using such a small brush is because I really want to pack in that color. I want it to look as flawless as possible, and I want that photoshopped effect, and I feel like the smaller the brush, the denser the product actually pushes right in, so you actually get a much more Barbie effect. So I'm going to go down to the side of my nose here to cover any wideness. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Go down the side, Cover up any wideness there. Brighten up this zone, the highlight zone, all the way down to my laugh line. And fill in anything in between. So that part's done now. And I'm gonna do the T-zone now. So I'm going right in between my eyebrows here, and I'm gonna fade it as I'm going up. So I always start with the center when I'm applying fresh product, move it side to side, and then as I'm moving up, I'm running out of product on my brush. So what's happening is I'm using less and less product as I go up. And that's gonna create that fade, so it's so much easier for us to blend afterward. And now, using the side of the brush, I'm just stamping on the product down the bridge of my nose and on the tip. Ta-da, just like that. And making sure I'm getting on the sides of my Cupid's bow. And just a small amount on the chin. So everywhere that I've highlighted, I'm now setting with the highlight powder. So I'm getting in close so you guys can really see, like, the side of my nose is way out here. I've created it thinner right along here, and I've covered the whole side with light powder so that now I've actually created a whole new smaller nose on top of my regular nose. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with a darker powder, slightly darker. I'm gonna go in with my Morphe M438 brush, and I'm gonna dip into NC42 Studio Fix powder, and I'm going to set all of the contour zones with this. So you can see, just setting all the contour zones. So the temple, don't forget the temple, rub it into the hairline a little bit. Temple zone here, rubbing it into the hairline, and blending over the contour on this side of my face. I'm going really light with it. I'm not pressing too hard when it comes to this step. And make sure you get your jawline. And just so that the jawline doesn't look too dark from the rest of the neck, I go ahead and whatever is left on that brush, I'm just dusting down to cover up the neck. So that's what I do with the contour color. And I also like to use this little oval number 3 brush from MAC with the same color. And I set the nose contour with this. It's like the perfect little toothbrush size, and it works out so great. Don't forget right in here and right in there. So now all the darks have been set. So now the last step is to marry the colors together using a middle color. This is NC40, and I'm going to use my little ball brush that I like to call it. This is the 109 brush from MAC, and I'm going to take a good amount of this and apply it to all of the areas that I've not set yet. So my entire jawbone has not been set yet. And this is also going to clean up the edges of my cheek contour as well, so it looks a little sharper if we need it to look sharper. And I'm also going to use this to marry my dark and light together. So right in between my dark and light, I'm going to add a layer of this medium tone, and that's actually going to let the two colors marry together and look a lot more blended. And I always keep my other brush handy of my contour color just to redarken in case I've lightened it up too much. So that makes it look a little bit more blended and smooth. So again, this color is called NC40, which is right in between the two other colors that I used, which was NC42 for the dark and NC25 for the light. So this is the color that I'm just using to marry the two together. I'm going to do the same for the forehead between my light and dark here. Right in between the rainbow, we're using the middle color as that transition shade to marry the two together. So now the forehead's done. And lastly, because the nose looks crazy, I always add a good healthy layer of this medium color all over the nose, especially on the sides and on the contour zones, to make it look more natural. So I'm now gonna cover up the contour of my nose using this middle color. So now you can see just a light amount of contour here versus over here. So again, a full amount of coverage right along this contour on the nose so it looks a lot more natural. So now it's a more believable nose contour. You can still see it, but it's not as crazy looking. And I'm gonna do the same to my lip area too, so you don't see like a whole splotch of dark out of nowhere. So anywhere else that you noticed any discrepancies in the makeup, if it's just too obvious for you or too crazy of a dark and too crazy of a light, go ahead and use your medium as that finishing layer to smooth everything together as if it's a finishing powder. So now I'm gonna get close so you can really see everything side to side and how the medium powder really does help to make everything just look a lot more natural. Maybe I'll just add a little bit more to the nose. Okay. Ta-da. So now that the face is starting to be really sculpted, I'm gonna go ahead, pop back my nose ring because I feel so naked without it. My little face jewelry here. Okay. And now we are ready for the shimmer and a little bit more highlight and contour. So if you guys want to really go crazy with the highlight and contour, by all means, this is something I love to do. And again, in case you haven't noticed, I like to do things in layers because it lasts longer and it's easier to blend. So instead of just piling on super white and then piling on super dark and then trying to blend in between, I do things in layers of the most natural ways first, and then I go crazier and crazier and crazier just to keep my control over what's going on my face. And the blendability is so much better when you're doing it in layers. And of course the wearability too. Like I said, when you're putting on makeup in layers and thin layers, it takes a lot longer for your makeup to wear out throughout the day instead of putting one fat blotch on and then that just can wipe right off. So thin layers is the way to go. And I'm gonna go in with my big old paintbrush. This is MAC 189. And I'm going to dip in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit. This is Banana and Golden Peach. So I'm going to use a mixture of banana and golden peach together to really brighten up my under eye area, which will make me look less tired. So I love that you guys who know about Ramadan and everything and know that we're observing and all that are asking, oh my gosh, how do you have the energy? How do you look awake, blah, blah, but it's really the makeup. And I feel like when you put on makeup that makes you look more alive, you feel more alive automatically. So I really gain a lot of energy when I'm putting on makeup. I don't wear makeup daily only because my skin's really, really sensitive. So day to day, I try to refrain from it unless I'm going somewhere, which I am tonight, and of course for your class. But in general, I don't. And I've noticed that the days that I don't wear makeup, I'm very, very tired. And then the days that I end up just like doing it, I feel so much more alive and energetic. So right now what I'm doing is I'm brightening up around my laugh line area, around the nostrils, to kind of give you that Kim Kardashian brightening where she's kind of like puffed from the middle of her face and everything else is very sculpted. That's the look that I'm going for today. And then lastly, I'm dipping into the banana color and I'm just creating a little bit of shading using my finger to brighten up, and then using my brush right in the center of my brow since it's a bigger area to brighten up the core of my face. So again, just a little bit of banana right along the bridge of my nose. And you could also add a little bit just along the tip of your nose to really sharpen it up. So now I have a much sharper tip and it's all good. Right? You can use a little bit on the chin too if you really want to create that point. So now that I'm done with that, I can really go crazy with the contour part. And that again with the same Morphe brush, which was I love how everything's all over the place. Okay. The Morphe contour brush that I was using earlier, that's the brush that I'm going to use for the extra contouring underneath. So I'm going to go into Havana, which is this one, and Fawn, which is this one, from the Anastasia contour palette. And I'm just going to chisel out right along the hollow of my cheekbone. And the cool thing is, since we've already done that Mary color to blend it, to blend in between my dark and light, I don't need to go crazy blending this color on. So all I have to do is draw it in and then roll it up, and it blends in beautifully instead of sitting here going like this for 5 minutes. So again, just digging right in, and very carefully going into a point as I'm going lower. And then rolling up to smooth everything out. Alrighty, so now that's done. And if you want to do a little bit more on the temples, you absolutely may. It's not a big deal, but I try not to do more on my nose because, again, I don't want that crazy like brown line on there. In fact, if you need to lighten up any areas, feel free to do so. But this is kind of all I do for the contour. I would love to now show you how I create that glow that I get in my pictures using highlight products. So the bronze color from Galactic Beauty is one of my all-time favorite highlighters, and I like to use my small little Hakuhodo brush. There's no number on this, but it's just a Hakuhodo blending brush. And I use it right along here, right on the top of my cheekbones, to add a nice shine along the edges there. And I go down to the apple of my cheek. So I just take a straight line and go along, and then whatever's left on the brush, I go right above my eyebrows, and I use my fingers to blend. And I could just do a little bit on my chin and use my fingers to blend that as well. Now, lastly, I love to do a little bit on my Cupid's bow and a small amount down the bridge of the nose. So now I have a little bit more of that glow throughout. Recently, I got something from Gerard Cosmetics, and I do have a coupon code for you guys if you want to get it. Gerard Cosmetics sent a bunch of their brand new highlighters, and at first I was like, okay, I don't think they've ever come out with like a highlighter or a face product like that before, except for the BB cream, but that's like a cream. So I didn't know what to expect, but I have to say, the pigment's really strong, and if you're into like a really bold highlight, this is definitely a good product. So this is what it looks like. There's actually 3 colors. This is the lightest of the 3. This is called Audrey. And I use my fingers. It's very creamy and like full coverage. And I use my fingers and I just draw a nice bright line along the top of my cheekbones. So bright line, and then also a little bit along my nose and a little bit above my eyebrows and my lips. So I'm using it in conjunction with the Galactic one, because I am not super fair. I have a lot of color in my skin, so I need something to warm it up a little bit. So that's why I use the Galactic first, which is just in bronze, and that's actually my everyday one. I don't really go crazy with highlighter day to day, so Galactic is like my everyday face glow. And then this Gerard Cosmetics one is for like the ultra highlight. So now I'm just gonna use that same paintbrush, and I'm just gonna lightly blend along the edges. I'm not spreading it out too much. I still wanna see that beam of light. I just don't wanna see it too crazy. So I'm just blending the very edges of this product. And then you have a much more highlighted face. So I'm gonna get closer so you can really see that highlight. Pretty cool. So that is how I got my highlight recently, but before the Gerard Cosmetics one came out, I was using just the LA Girl Cosmetics, and I love that one. I have the coupon code for you guys. If you use DYF on GerardCosmetics.com or WhitneyLightning.com, you will get a nice discount on all of their products. So anything you want from their website, GerardCosmetics.com, WhitneyLightning.com, use code DYF at checkout and you'll get your discount. So I highly recommend the highlighters for those of you who love a bold highlight. One thing that I'm noticing is I want to re-brighten this area right here, like in my picture. So I'm going to go back in with my little Morphe 407 brush with Banana, and I'm going to re-brighten right in that area there to make it really puff out. So any areas that you feel are too receded, you can puff it out using a light color, and any areas that you want to be just pushed back, you can use the darker colors for that. So that's the whole point of highlighting contour, is really to play with your lights and darks. So now that that's done, we're gonna do blush. So this is my angled blush brush from MAC, and I'm going to be using the Kevyn Aucoin Soft Pink Blush. I'm not sure if they still make it, and I'm just gonna roll it on throughout my highlight and contour right in between them. So this is another transition shade, basically, right in between my highlight and contour. I want to make sure that I'm getting the apples of my cheeks here. And because one blush is never enough for me, I go in with another color called Well Dressed from MAC, which is this one here. It's a very shimmering pink. It's a frosty pink. And I smile. And I'm just applying it right on the apple. And it gives my face a really healthy pink glow, which makes it look a little bit younger. So I know that if a lot of you out there have been using one color blush, like a darker blush, it could make you look a little bit older. But if you just use a little pop of a soft pink right on the apple, it'll actually make you look a little bit more youthful. And then I'm just gonna use this brush to blend the edges of that, just to make sure it's very, very flawless. And if you feel like you missed out on a little extra highlight, you can always go back with your paintbrush, go back to any highlight and re-brighten any areas that you feel got too blended. Again, working in layers is definitely my key to a long-lasting perfect makeup. And every time, let me tell you something else. When I'm at events and it's really hot and people are sweating and shiny and need touch-ups and everything, and my face still looks, and I can guarantee this, like everyone can tell you that's true, my face looks exactly the same as to when I entered the event to when I leave the event. Even if I'm there all day, even if it's in the sun and everyone's melting, my face like never, ever, ever melts. Not only because like I do have dry skin, so that's also like a plus, but my clients, same thing, because everything's in layers. So if you guys are wondering, oh my God, this is so many steps, it's definitely not an everyday thing. I know it's a lot of steps, but believe me, if you're doing this on your clients or on yourself and it's for a special event that you think you don't have time to do touch-ups and stuff, this is how you do it, because it is not gonna fade. Like I can pretty much guarantee if you go to sleep, which I don't recommend you to do, but if you go to sleep with your makeup on and wake up, it's gonna look the same. So good stuff. Anyway, now that the face is officially done, I am ready for eyes. I'm so excited for the eyes. So I'm gonna go in with the same concealer brush that we were using earlier. Let me put away everything here real quick. The same 287 concealer brush from MAC. And I'm going to use this to blend my eyeshadow base. So the eyeshadow base that I've been really addicted to lately is my Anastasia Beverly Hills Base No. 1 pencil. This is the Pro Pencil. And I just draw it along the arch of the eyebrows, and similar to what we did earlier actually, and I fill in the whole eyelid with this. And now I'm ready to blend it. So we're gonna make sure that everything is nice and smooth. There's no chunks of product sitting on the top of my skin. If you guys are into doing your eyes first and then your face, by all means, that's totally okay. Most of my colleagues actually do the same thing. They do eyes first and then face, but I love to do my face first because it allows my foundation and everything to set. By the time the eyes are done, I can see that my face is reacting really well, and in case anything's going wrong, I'm still here to see the face and make sure that I can combat any issues that I'm seeing on my face, because without a perfect face, you're not gonna get that whole like perfected look. So I feel like the face is probably one of the most important things on the face. Does that make sense? It's your face. The eyes, to me, are secondary. So now that the eyeshadow base is done, I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows. Get that over with. So let me see here. I'm going to use brow pencils. Medium Ash Brow Wiz from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Actually, wait. My hair is dark right now. I'm going to use brunette. This is brunette. So I'm going to go right in and start by creating a line at the base of my brow. So I'm starting right at the base so that I can get that arch out of the way. So base and arch are my first steps when I'm creating my brows. So base, rolling up to the arch. So I just want to make sure that they're looking as close as possible. This one's a little higher, so I'm gonna go a little fuller on the bottom of this. All right, so let me fix my nose ring. So now that the base and the arch are kind of laid out for me, I can finish up the tail by dragging it right out. And I just want to make sure that both of them look as close as possible. So that's why I'm kind of going back and forth with this. Now comes the time where I can take tiny baby strokes and fill up the top of my eyebrows. So small baby strokes, filling up that arch first, just to establish the highest point of my brow, and then rolling down with little strokes towards the ends. And definitely use a spoolie at the other end. This is the Brow Wiz pencil by Anastasia Beverly Hills. It comes with a spoolie at the other end so that you can actually blend as you're going. And very lightly, I'm gonna bring in the base right in here. The beginnings of the brow, which is this zone here, I like to go really light. Let me get closer so you can really see, okay? So I go fuller here and lighter as I go towards the beginning of my brows. And even with the stroking part, I'm going lighter and lighter as I go into the beginnings of my brow hairs. So another little tip is to go in the direction of your natural brow hair growth. So you see how I'm going up and down here because my brows are growing that way. And then as I'm doing this, I'm going side to side with it because my brow hairs are growing flat towards those areas. So now I'm brushing it, creating a little bit of that ombre effect, blend it, and making sure I'm not over blending on the areas that I need to remain dark so that it looks a lot more natural and it has that definition. So you don't want to mess up all that definition. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of filling in to go a little thicker so it doesn't look too spiky, I guess. There we go. Now that this one's pretty much done, I'm going to do the same exact thing to this brow. So I'm going to do my little baby strokes. Complete that end. And go lighter and lighter as I'm going in to that inner corner. And remember to blend with the spoolie. In any areas, you can feel free to just use your fingers to blend too. So I'm gonna go in and darken up this little piece here, this little guy here. Any areas that just don't look perfect, go ahead and kind of give it a few extra strokes. And now we're ready to blend those spots as well. now we have two slightly more similar looking brows. So that's what that is. And now another little thing, in case you like a little bit of powder to go over your brow, just to set it, I like to use like a small brush. I know this is not a powder eyebrow brush at all, but this is just a brush that I like to use because it is a little fuller, so it gives you a little bit more of that natural powder look. I'm gonna go in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills brow book here, the brow palette. I'm gonna go in with one of the lighter warm shades to go with my ombre hair. So I'm gonna go with Caramel. And I'm just gonna dust this over the beginning half of my brow, just to give it a little bit of warmth and a little bit more shape in the beginnings. And with the ends, I'm gonna go in with Ebony, just to darken the peak of the arch. So I'm not going super crazy. This is just to give a very, very bold brow look without going Sharpie. I'm just gonna blend it in a little. I would say because I'm so horrible with my own real brows, as far as like the real brow, I've become really good at brows. And I feel like with any of us who have that daily experience of having to correct any mistakes of our own face, any imbalances, any imperfections, we end up becoming so good at masking it. So I think that that's probably why I'm really good at brows now. So now that the brows are done, we're ready for the eyes. So the first thing that I like to do with the eyes is I get my 239 brush from MAC, and I'm going into the color called Fresh from the Tamana palette, which is of course no longer available. I'm so sorry. This was limited edition last year. So it's not coming back, but you can probably find it on eBay for like 10 times the price. No. Just get the singles on AnastasiaBeverlyHills.com. This is Fresh, and I'm just applying it right on the base of the arch, like that, and dragging it in. And let me just make sure I can clean any little smudges. By the way, the black in my palette is so black that if you get any on your face, like what just happened to me, I think my palette dusted everywhere and it was on my hand when I'm doing this. But if that gets on you, don't freak out. It is really hard to remove, but if you just have a dry paper towel, just like what I did, because remember how I said I do layers and layers and layers of powders and highlight and all that stuff? It's not gonna stick to your skin. All you have to do is use a little bit of cloth and it's gone. And if you need to just kind of redo a little bit of your highlight, whatever is left from your highlight brush, bam, it's as good as new. So anyway, I'm gonna go back with this brush and do this other eye with the color called Fresh. So I'm making sure I'm going right underneath the arch and filling up the entire length of the brow. So mainly on the arch and tail, and then whatever's left on my brush, I'm dragging it inward and blending the very bottom edge. So now the underbrow areas are nice and clean. Here's a close-up of my brows so you guys can see. Imagine the before and after, man. That's just like, it still blows my mind. It's me. It's me. I do it every day. It's me. But it still blows my mind. 30 years into my life. Okay. So now we are ready for the crease. I'm gonna go in with one of my favorite crease brushes, which I'm so sorry, I don't really have the number. It just says Haku Hodo on. Oh no, I do. I'm sorry, I lied. It's BJ142. BJ142 from Haku Hodo. And I'm gonna go right in with Bengal. And I'm just creating a little bit of a shadowy effect, and I'm also winging out. Going back in, doing the other side, going along my natural socket. So this is not, my eyes are, okay, let me get a little close so you can see. My eyes are hooded, look at that. Look at that fold. My fold is way down here on my lid. My crease is way up here. So remember guys, if you have hooded eyes, feel where the socket is. See where my nail's digging into my eye? That's the eye socket. And that is where I'm creating the most crease color. I'm not going down to my lid, okay? So that's how you fix a hooded eye. You ignore the fold that's happening here. And what's funny is I have one fold on this eye and 2 folds on this eye. So every time I've ever gotten my makeup done, which is not many times, I actually don't trust anybody with that. Every time that's happened though in the past, like at MAC or whatever, they always somehow screw up because my eyes don't match. But I'm here to tell you that if you just go along your natural, you just feel where your natural socket is, that's where you're gonna do it. And now I'm gonna go in with chocolate. And I'm just gonna dig in and darken up some of the edges right in here. So not all over, just on the very outer 2/3 of the crease. And now I'm gonna wipe off the brush and use the brush just to blend any areas that have skid marks. Remember to flare it out, because we're gonna do that double wing thing. So you need to make sure that it's a lot higher than where your natural eyeliner is gonna be. Okay, so now that that's taken care of, I'm gonna dig in with that same brush that I used earlier for the brow, that fluffy one. It's actually Inglot 9S, that's the brush. And we're gonna go in with MAC Dip Down, which is the dark brown eyeliner gel. Taking a small amount on the edge of the brush, I'm using my hand as a palette, and I'm just using the very edges, and I'm gonna chisel in a soft cut crease. So I'm looking down, and just with the very edge of this brush, you could also use an eyeliner brush, totally fine to use an eyeliner brush. I'm gonna chisel in a cut crease. And I'm gonna flare it out towards the end of my brow. Very carefully, okay? Now immediately I'm gonna go in with a pencil brush. This is a Sigma pencil brush with chocolate, which is that dark brown eyeshadow I have in my set. And I'm going to roll it right over to blend the edges of this cut crease. See how that just kind of blended right in? And make sure you're also blending the top edge of the wing area. Don't blend all the way out to the corner of the wing. You want to make sure that stays really fine pointed. So you're just gonna blend with eyeshadow everywhere else, except for the point. So if you need to raise your eyebrows so you can get a tight skin, then go ahead and raise your eyebrows to get a tighter skin if you're doing it on yourself. But if you're doing it on someone else, it's a lot easier. I have to say, when I do my own makeup, if it's a cut crease, something very technical like this, I hate it. It's so hard because I can't close my eyes all the way when I'm doing it. So now I'm just going back in with my blending brush from Haku Hodo to blend that edge right in here. So it kind of just flows into my nose contour a little bit. So now I'm gonna do the same on the other side. So see how that's kind of a cut crease right there? I'm gonna just go ahead and do it on the other side, get some dip down. And make sure your brush is being sharp. And you're just gonna draw along the area that you want to create your new crease. So I'm just matching it up to the other side basically. And I wanna make sure it's going out again towards my eyebrow. Okay, so now they're about the same level. I can smooth the line a little bit. And before the line dries, I'm gonna go in with chocolate and start blending the edges The last thing you want is a crazy line out of nowhere. And I know cut crease basically looks like a crazy line out of nowhere, but that top edge is always blended. The bottom edge is not. So going back to that blending brush, we're just gonna smooth out that top edge a little bit more. If you need to raise your eyebrows again and really rub, get the product going. If you need to go back to Bengal to lighten up anything, feel free to do whatever you need to do to get that top edge blended, but do not overblend the rest of the darker areas, because that you need to have a nice strong line in that spot. So I'm just going in and removing any type of smudge marks. I'll go really close so you guys can see. Removing any type of smudge marks by adding a lighter color in there. That's Bengal that I'm adding right now to blend the upper portion of the cut crease. So now I'm just going to kind of go side to side so you guys can see the angle in which we've created this. All right, now we are ready for the eyelid color, which will be my amazing, amazing hot makeup eyeshadow. This is one of my favorites. It's called Harmony. And I also have a coupon code for this, which is, I believe, DYF. I'll double check with you guys. But I believe it's DYF, hotmakeup.com, Harmony eyeshadow. I'm gonna use the flat brush again. This is the 239 from MAC. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna flatten out my eye, and I'm gonna chisel out a nice strong edge to clean up the base of the cut crease. So if that means pushing down and pulling up to spread that eye, then you go ahead and do that. And you're gonna chisel out a nice, strong, clean eyelid. And then remember from my past classes, the press and slide, that's exactly what we're gonna do here. We're gonna press and slide all the way down to finish the application of this color. Another thing that I like to do is I like to use my fingers, because I feel like fingers give a much better consistency of product. So if you are a finger user yourself, go ahead and use your fingers for that as well. Just make sure that the edges are nice and strong. Okay. Also, if you need a little extra help with the very edges, if you need to use a sharper brush, that's fine too. But I tend to get the same type of look using just this brush. This is a 239 from MAC again. But just be very careful that you're not getting it like all over your cut crease. You just want to use it to chisel rather than wipe off everything. Again, just dotting on any little fallout and making sure that I'm smoothing out any little dust as soon as it happens. I'm not trying to get it to settle in. So now that that eyelid part is done, I can go in with my other side and do the same exact thing. Smoothing out. You can spread the eye to get closer to the cut crease line, and make sure you're doing the press and slide technique throughout, and remembering to really chisel by using the edge of your brush, and that cleans up any mistakes, any smudges that you make on your cut crease. All right, so eyelids are done. Now my eyes are looking much bigger than what they were before, I gotta say. And if you want to use any soft shade to brighten up right in your crease area, feel free to use that Bengal again. right up in here just to kind of smooth out the cut crease a little bit more. What I like to do also is kind of go back with Fresh and re-brighten any areas that I might have over blended. Ta-da! Fresh is that light color that we used under the brow, if in case you forgot. And that usually helps to just clean up the very edges of the makeup. And then in case any sparkle got on your cut crease, make sure you're picking that right back up using that same cut crease brush that you used. All right, so now that that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and apply eyeliner, and then the glitter is gonna be like the last step pretty much. Let me just smooth this out. Yeah, the glitter is usually the last step only because it's very hard to use eyeliner over glitter because it gets very chunky, so you want to make sure you're doing glitter last. So what I'm going to do right now is the lining, and I like to use, let me find my brush. I have the Anastasia eyeliner brush, which I really like these days, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. It's brush number 3 from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'm going to give it a quick spray so it's nice and fresh for me. The brush spray cleaner that I use is from Cinema Secrets. It's a Cinema Secrets professional brush cleaner, and it's amazing. So you guys, when you're doing your eyeliner, it's totally up to you as to like how thick or how thin you want to go. I like to go really thick and crazy with it, especially when I'm doing a cut crease. I feel like you make your eyes so big, so you might as well do a crazy eyeliner with it. So I'm going to go ahead and use number 77 AMC gel liner. Picking up a good amount with the brush, using the back of your hand as your palette, and now I'm saturating the whole brush. I'm going to go right in and do my bottom. So I'm doing the waterline, and I'm actually smudging right under my waterline as well, because I'm going to go quite thick with this. So it's going to look really crazy, but it ends up looking really, really good. So I go really thick, do the same on the other side. Get that waterline. Make sure you're filling in any gaps. I don't want to see any root gaps in between your eyelashes. Gotta be nice and full, all black. But like I said, if you or your bride or whoever's doing this doesn't like a crazy full amount of eyeliner, then you can always go thinner. It's totally fine. It's just, that's my preference. I like to go crazy. So now that the eyeliner part is done on the bottom, I'm gonna do my little inner corner tail. So this is how I do it. I use the very tip of the liner brush, and I kind of create a little line. Just like that. And now I'm going to connect that line into that thick blob of eyeliner under my eyes. So now we have a little bit of that sharp corner there. Just remember, do not press the brush too hard, and it's got to be a nice sharp brush. Like, check this brush out. It's really sharp. So that's why I'm able to get a really fine line, but if you press the brush too hard, it's gonna get all fat and crazy. So make sure that doesn't happen. Go very light with your application. I don't know if you can see. I'll get really close. So draw in that line. Gosh, my eyes are so sensitive. It's tickling me so much. I'm really trying not to cry, but I got this. And then connect it in and fill in any gaps. But that connection is the key. It's got to connect into the rest of your eyeliner. All right, so now that the 2 points are done, I could do the wing. And I promised you guys that I'll show you a cheating way that I do my wings, which it's like a life hack. It makes life so much easier. So we'll call this the wing hack, okay? Smoothing product on my brush again. I'm gonna create a blob of product right in here. And I'm gonna start working my way out in the same direction as my eyeliner, but check out the hack. Use your fingernail, if you have a fingernail, and just drag it. And see what that just did? It just created this like awesome line that is just perfect, and now all we have to do is the rest of the eyeliner and connect it, and it's like not even that big of a deal. Wing hack, life hack. You're welcome, by the way, to those of you who have pointy nails like me. Totally works. So, again, creating a blob of eyeliner right out here, working it out the same direction as your wing, and then using your nail and dragging it right out. And now you have this like awesome faded wing effect. It just goes from dark to light to light to light, fades out, looks perfect, and now all we have to do is the rest of the liner, and it's not even that crazy. So now I'm just gonna line the rest of my eyes, working on one end and kind of inching my way in. The trick with this product is, okay, I know a lot of you hate it, and a lot of you love it. It's a love-hate relationship with the Inglot AMC gel liner in 77 Inglot. It dries so fast and it makes your brush really, really sticky and hard. So the trick is you have to keep your brush really moist. So anytime that your brush gets all hard, re-dip it, rework that new saturating of the product so that you can get a nice smooth glide, okay? So don't get frustrated and keep going and going and going with that same dried up product. Re-wet it, resaturate it, you'll be fine. When you're connecting the wing, be very, very careful. So if you have to stretch and get in, then just do that. Okay, there. Now this outer portion, I go a lot thicker. And I'm gonna connect it to my wing hack. Wing hack. I like how we make our own terms in this class. We got the press and slide, we got the wing hack. Let's think of some more terms, shall we? Okay, there we go. I like to go really thick with the outer portion. Okay, I'm gonna do the same on the other side, and then we'll go ahead and blend the bottoms. I know the bottoms look crazy, but we need to finish this. So go ahead and line the other side, stamp it all the way in, and then smooth out any crazy edges. Let it work into your wing hack. Ooh. The two eye extensions that are there are just driving me nuts right now. Okay, I'm gonna re-wet the brush because it's already dry again, so re-wet. And now we're gonna work that inner corner. And that's looking pretty decent. So now we have our eyeliners pretty much done. I do like to go a little thicker on this outer portion, so I'm just gonna fluff it out a little bit more. Wing hack. All right. So now that the liner is done, we can just add a little bit of eyeshadow under here, and that's gonna blend the lower lash line. So I'm gonna go back with the pencil brush from Sigma, and I'm gonna dip into Chocolate, which is a dark brown eyeshadow. I'm gonna show you these colors again in case you forgot what they look like. This is Chocolate, and this is Bengal. So we're gonna basically use both of these, but we're gonna start off with Chocolate. Right underneath. And then immediately, I want you guys to remember to clean up after yourselves. So if there's a little something, you gotta get rid of it right away. Chocolate. Set your lower lash line with Chocolate. And smooth out any areas that got a little messy. And now with the same brush, we're gonna go into, actually, I think I used Gilded in the video. I did. Gilded is this golden antique color here. We're gonna use Gilded. And we'll stamp that right below the Chocolate so it can kind of disappear into this sparkly gold. Remember to smooth out the edges of that. So Gilded is going to be stamped right below the Chocolate. And that really makes it fade a little better. And remember to clean up. Okay, so now we have this amazing fade underneath. But we also have to make sure that the black remains black. So I'm going into Noir, which is the blackest black of the world, in with my Morphe 515 brush. And I'm gonna use that to just set my waterline, and that's gonna make sure that it does not fade throughout the day. So I got my waterline done, and I can use my pencil brush to just kind of blend over that. So that's the black. The Noir. Make sure you're doing the entire waterline, even the corner. And blend if you need to. So now you can see the black blends into the dark brown, and that blends into the antique gold color, which is called Gilded. And then that blends into my skin color. So it's this perfect gradient of shades right underneath the eyes, and it ends up looking so, so gorgeous. Another thing that I do on my own eyes, because remember how I said my eyes are hooded? Look, see the eyeliner right there? Because my eyes are hooded. If I go like this, you can see the eyeliner is fine, but as soon as I let go of my eyes, you can see the fold. So for hooded eyes, I like to use Noir eyeshadow as well, and I like to smoke that outer portion of the eye. Just like that. And what I do is I actually connect it into the crease and fill in just that outer portion with a little bit more Noir. And I blend it into very lightly. You see how little my strokes are? Very lightly, I'm blending it into the brown that's around it. And all that's doing is, we still have that double wing, we still have a cut crease effect, but it shapes my eyes so that the hood looks a little bit less prominent. And now the cat eye shape has a lift to it. Of course, the glitter is going to cover a little bit of this, but we have this like beautiful fade going. So that way we have a much more multi-dimensional eye, so that the hood doesn't really show through too much. All I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of redarkening the double wing using the tip of that brush. I love this brush, by the way, guys. Morphe 515 is like the bomb. So going into Noir again, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to start thickening up the liner here by smudging it. And we're gonna connect it to that upper crease. Again, this is optional. It works really well for those of us that have hooded eyes. If you don't have hooded eyes, you could still do it. It's still gonna look good. It's gonna look really cool, actually. It just adds another layer of interest. It's art. It doesn't let it be just a regular cut crease like everyone else does. This will make it stand out a lot more than any other cut crease. So that's pretty much it. I'm really just trying to mask the hooded fold that I have here. So now that the eyes are lifted, we have this double wing here, we got the double wing here, we got the single wings in here, we're now ready for the glitter. Yay! So, actually no, I'm sorry. First we're doing the lashes. Only because I cannot open my eyes again once the glitter is on for a little bit, so I need to make sure my lashes are already on so I can get all those things taken care of. So first things first, mascara. I'm going to just apply a nice coat of my Benefit They're Real mascara. On the top and on the bottom. What's cool about this mascara is that it has bristles on the tip of the mascara brush too, so you can actually use it like this and fan out your lower lashes as well. Do the same on the other side, give it a nice lift. This is also gonna coat any fallout that's on my lashes so that when I put on my falsies, it doesn't look all scary crazy when you see all the gold on my real lashes and then you see the falsies. That's gonna look funny. So always make sure you clean up any mascara, any eyeshadow that falls on your lashes by coating it with a nice strong coat of mascara before you put on your false lashes. All right, so now for the falsies. These are my Flutter Lashes Tamana lashes. Got to love them. A tip is curling them first. I've already curled these. These are the ones that I've worn in the video, so I've already curled them, and I'm just gonna go ahead and apply them. I need to make sure, where is my... I don't think I have my scissor, but that's okay. It already fits me, so it's fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some glue on them. And the favorite lash glue that I have is House of Lashes, the latex-free glue. I totally love it. I think it's amazing. It just really holds on to your lashes really well, but you have to be careful when pulling them out because it's really strong. It's gentle because it's latex free, but it's strong because it sticks really, really well. This is what it looks like. It's a brush on. They also just came out with it in black, so check those out when you guys get a chance. I'm gonna let this run out and then I'm gonna use the black ones that I have. So now that this has glue on it, we're gonna let it just dry for like a couple of seconds and then apply. Let it dry for a little bit. And using tweezers, actually I found my scissor. Using some tweezers, go ahead and hold the center and align it with the center of your own lash, just like that. And then you hold down one of the corners and you hold down the inner corner. And then you can use your tweezer to just press along the whole width of your lashes. That way you're pinching them together. I don't know if you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. Sorry, I got lost in the mirror for a second. Pinch them together so that it's one with your own lashes and you don't see too much of a difference between where these are located and where your natural lash shows. So basically, this is how I put them on. Granted, I am super allergic to lash glue, so again, I have to use the latex-free lash glue every time I put on lashes. So if you guys are allergic to lash glue or feel really sensitive when you put on lashes, this is definitely highly recommended by me. So check it out. They're very long and fluttery. So I'm gonna do the same on the other side. I have my lashes. We're gonna put on the lash glue, wait for a couple seconds, let it get sticky, and then we'll go ahead and apply. But if you guys are just using these lashes for the first time, I highly recommend curling them first before you actually apply them. So I used an eyelash curler to curl them before I applied them the first time for that video. Let this dry for a little bit. And remember to hold the center, match it up to the center of your lash, hold down one end, and then hold down the other end and start pressing together. If you're doing this on your client, then I would not recommend pressing them together because you might risk poking them in the eye. So I don't really do this when I'm doing it on clients. I just make sure that I am applying it as close to the root of your client's lashes as possible. And you could always use your finger to really press them down. All right, so now that the lashes are on, I'm just gonna apply a little bit of mascara to the tips to lift them up. That part's optional too, you don't really have to, but I love applying mascara to the wispy ends so that it really just pops. And then what I do is I use my fingers to just touch the ends. And what that's doing is it's removing any type of clumps from the mascara. So now you guys can see up close how these Tamana lashes from Flutter Lashes looks on my eyes. I like to do that coat right on the wispy ends. Use your fingers to wipe off any clumping. Pull them up. Make sure you're wiping off your hands. You don't want it to get on your face now. And there you have it. It's like I can fly away with these lashes. There's a side. If you guys need to see all those lovely angles of these. Okay, so now that that's done, we're ready for the glitter. You know what? I'm gonna make you wait again. I'm gonna do my lips. So with the lips, I like to use a really light lip liner. I'm going to use two of them. I'm going to start off with Subculture and then Soar. I'm going to use Subculture just along my natural lip line. And I'm going to show you how I make my lips look bigger. I also fill in my lips with Subculture since it's such a nude color. I'm going to go in with Soar now. And I'm going to line right above the line that I just created. So first I line my natural lip line. Well, Now I just kind of go right into the big line because I'm so used to my lips. But if you're doing it on somebody who you're not used to, go ahead and line their natural lips first and then go right around the natural lip line with the darker color. Just as so. So I'm creating a larger upper lip. For the bottom, I don't like to go too big because I already have fuller bottoms. I just needed a fuller top. Now I'm ready for the actual lipstick. So I'm going to go in with just my generic lip brush. This is actually a paintbrush from Michael's Arts and Crafts store. So I just picked that up for the lips. And then I'm going to use my new Makeup Forever lipstick in number 33. It's a pinky color. So going in, you could use it straight as well, or you could use it with a lip brush. So I'm going in just to create a nice bright base first. And then I'm going to use a really nude matte color along the centers to make it look like a pale pink. So that part is done. I'm going to now dip into a really nude matte. So I have my lip palette here. Most of these are MAC. Okay. And I'm going to go in with Myth. And that is, oh, actually, you know what? No, I have what I used for the video. I used Pale Lip by Lancome, which is this one right here. Pale Lip by Lancome. And I apply it right on the center. And then work my way out. So now you can see a little brightening there. But if you guys want to get a lot more like Barbie-ish, I would definitely use a little bit of Myth, like I was going to do earlier, right along the center. Right along the base and the center. So once that's done, if you want to do a gloss, you absolutely can. It's not like super necessary. It's totally up to you. The gloss that I really like, I mean, there's so many actually that I love. Gerard Cosmetics has got to be one of my all-time favorites. And then of course MAC, but I'm going to go ahead and use the Gerard Cosmetics Spring Fling Lip Gloss so you guys can see what that looks like. It's just this really pale pink here. Even my clients, oh my God, everyone knows I love mixing like a gazillion different things on my lips and on their lips. I'm just gonna make sure that edges are clear. Because I could never, ever just be satisfied with one color. That's how I am with face, that you know, that's how I am with cheeks, and that's exactly how I am with lips as well. Okay, so now that that's done, we're just gonna do a little cleanup around the edges. I'm gonna go back to my concealer brush and any foundation palette. I kinda use this for cleanup on edges and things like that. So let's see which one I'll have here. The Cinema Secrets number 4, kit number 4. This is like closest to my skin. So I'm gonna use the middle one and the light one. I use the lid to mix, and I'm just gonna brighten up around my lipstick. The next step will be glitter, I promise. I just have to make sure everything else is done before, because with the glitter, I don't wanna move my eyes too much. until it's dry, you know? Smooth around. In case you guys are just logging in case you got out of work a little later or whatever, in case you're just now seeing this, go ahead and ask your questions on the latest post that I made on Instagram so that we can answer them for you. And to my students out there watching as well, if you guys know any of the answers to the questions that the other students are asking, feel free to help them out by answering them in case I can't get to every question. And I love that you guys already do that. It's like a community, I swear. I love Address Your Face Live community. It literally, like, you guys help each other so much. I notice that you guys answer each other's question all the time. And you've developed a cool friendship with each other. So that's really cool. I love it. Thank you. Right now I'm just blending around the edges. And don't forget, it is so important to also make sure you've set any fresh liquid that you've put on. Alrighty. So now that that's done, let's do glitter. Yay! So I have the glitter injections. I really love them. And I've had them for a really, really long time. So they're just called glitter injections. And this one does not have a color on it, but if I were to explain the color to you, it's like a coppery rose gold. That's the color that it looks like. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a dollop of my glitter gel adhesive from Sally's Beauty Supply. This is like 99 cents. Put a dollop of it on the back of my hand, and I'm gonna pour a very small amount of this glitter over it. So you have to open up that top and just pour a very small amount of glitter over the gel. Close it right away so it doesn't get stuff all over. And now the glitter and the gel is here, and I'm gonna mix it with my e.l.f. concealer brush, which is $1 at Target. e.l.f. concealer brush, and we're mixing. We're gonna create a paste. Now we're ready to apply. So I'm gonna get really close here so you guys can see. I'm gonna start applying in stamping motions. Apply that glitter right along your entire eyelid space. Be careful along your eyeliner area, just not to get all over your eyeliner. And you're in control over how much or how little you're applying. I'm just gonna do a nice sheer amount throughout my eyes, but if you wanna do more, you can absolutely feel free to do a whole sheet of glitter, a lot stronger than this, like another layer. So I'm just dotting it on throughout the entire lid space. Making sure it sticks. And if there's any areas that are just not sticking right, just dot a little softer, because it could be the pressure that you're using. So if you dot like feather light strokes, it might grab on a lot better. So try that. And another thing, if there is like a problem area that's like literally not sticking no matter how much work you do on it, then go ahead and let your eyes dry first and then apply another layer just on those problem areas. So you could always go back in and dot it in once it's a little bit less wet. Okay, so now that it's on, I'm gonna let it dry for a little bit. And in the meantime, you guys can feel free to get your screenshots if you wanna post this look on your pages. Remember to hashtag Dress Your Face Live so that I can see it and I can comment and love it and all that good stuff, because I love to support my fellow Dress Your Face Live girls, my DYFL army, as I like to call it. So I'm all about it. So just go ahead and hashtag so I can see your post and I can love it. I'm gonna let that dry. Another little trick is if you really want your double wing to pop a lot more, use a really, really tiny brush, something like this. This is Anastasia Beverly Hills number 16 brush. And you can go in with a really light eyeshadow, just like that, basically the Hot Makeup Harmony. A light shimmery shadow. And get right in to re-brighten right in between. And that tends to kind of clean up your edges as well. And in the photograph, that's why my edges were just popping a lot more, because in flash photography or any special lighting, it just shows up a lot more. So that's why it looks so clean and so pretty, pretty, pretty. And again, just want to make sure that all this is nicely highlighted. You could do your final touches while your eyes are drying. And that, my friends, is how I got the coppery glitter eye look, which is very Arabic slash Bollywood slash heavy glam bridal slash costumey, whatever you want to call it. It is very glamorous and it is very, very special to me. It's one of my favorite looks. And it does take a while when you do it on yourself. It's a lot faster when you do it on someone else, of course. It just takes so long. But I'm going to pose for you so you guys can see all the different angles of how amazing this makeup looks. And I'm going to look down so you guys can see my lashes and all that good stuff. And take all your screenshots if you want to post. And also, what else do I have? I have so many updates for you guys, but I guess I'll wait for the next class. I'm going to go ahead and answer some of your questions now. And I'm just gonna pose so you guys get your pictures if you wanna Snapchat or anything. All good. Imagine the before and after though. Like, I look so different without makeup. I'm fully aware of that. You know, the lack of brows and the lack of lashes and of course my freckles and everything. I look super, super different. But now that I have all the glam on, I feel much more alive. And even though some people prefer no makeup, I feel like with the right makeup for the right occasion, you can feel a certain way about life in general. It's not about feeling better about yourself always. I mean, you should always feel good in your own skin too. And just like it takes a lot of confidence to show your bare skin on social media, I'm sure it's even more scary in real life because you feel like you're putting yourself out there. Maybe it's the other way around because a lot more people see you on social media than they do in real life. But anyway, you know, it just goes to show that as long as you feel comfortable with yourself, everything else is just so much easier in life. And then when you do your makeup all glam and you're ready to go somewhere, you can feel so much more energetic and so much more vibrant and so much more fun. And it literally changes your personality. So I know I've mentioned this before in another class. Sometimes my husband even tells me, depending on the way I wear my makeup, it kind of changes my mood that day. And he totally notices it. It's really funny. So go ahead and ask your questions on my latest post so that I can go ahead and answer them. In the next 10 minutes or so, I'll try to answer as many questions as I possibly can so we can get this going. So again, my Instagram post, this one right here, this post right here, go ahead and ask your questions and I'll answer. So far I have like 200 something comments. Well, okay. What Morphe brush did you use for setting your concealer? And what brand was the glitter gel from? I love this class. Thank you, Beauty by Anam. The Morphe brush that I used for setting my concealer was this little ball brush here, number 407, Morphe M407. I use this right along the edges of my eyes to set my concealer, and the way I usually like to do that is with a brightening powder. And then I also used it when I used the banana color here, the banana one. I dipped in, and you could even add more like afterward. You can go back and really re-brighten around your eye area with this brush. I feel like it's the perfect size to set your concealer and brighten up the core center of your face. And then what was the other question? What was the brand of glitter? Unfortunately, I think the brand is just called Glitter Injections. It's from a girl named Snooki's official twin. I'm not sure if she changed her Instagram name since then. This was a long time ago. And she sent me a bunch of these cutie pie glitter injections, which are just, oh my God, so adorable. So this is the one, as far as the color, it doesn't have a color on it. I'm sure it's on their website, but this color is the copper color, which is like a